my passion in vain? Is my travel in vain? No, of course not. It's not all in vain. 'Cause after all, let it define.
Lux, 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 Lady Lux, Lady Lux. That's her name, don't wear it out. Lady Lux, Lady Lux. That's her name, don't wear it out. Hopping out the bed, right? Gotta get my tummy tight. I'm gonna get my body wrapped today. That means you born, right?
Let's send a blog to the group home. See what them boys on. Looking out for them men, making them feel like who? Mike Jones. Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones. 4 days and 3 nights. Lux, get your flight right. Tune in to Biz One, 7 p.m. on Wednesday night.
Fashion talk, let's not forget where you get your fashion pick. Latest fashion in the mix. Yeah, you know it's gonna be lit. Ow. Ow.
Lipo in the drawer, y'all. Detox. Take the detox 1 time a day. Do the lipo in the drawer twice a day. Wrap in saran wrap. Put your belt on. Look at that waist. It worked, y'all. Call me 480-9200, y'all. Can't go wrong. How you like it? How it feel?
Like I had my shape from about 20 years ago.
Okay, see what I'm saying? It works. Lipo in a jar. Ace bandage.
It's Devine. It's Devine.
What's up, everybody? This is Lady Devine. It's Wine Down Wednesday. Go get your wine, y'all. And we got that old school basement music. You know that one that make you sweat, y'all? Like, with the flashing lights.
I can do whatever I wanted to.
Cause of your worth.
Because God gave it to me. And now I've used it.
You tuned into Busy Wine. And I'm Lady Devine. So get your wine, sit back, and relax. You got a special guest tonight. Y'all tuned in to Lady Devine. This is fashion talk. Normally he's dressed up. Woo, you be having it on.
You know, I mean, you gotta represent when I'm on stage. And I'm always representing my health.
Yes.
You know, you're on stage, so you gotta do something a little different. So start getting different clothes, jazzier clothes, kind of stuff that I'd never really worn before. And now, you know, Now I go to K&G like, yeah, let me get that and that. And, you know, just different
Are
places.
Are you saying you don't need her no more?
I'm saying that I have been taught to, what they say, grasshopper, you know, take the pebble out of my hand. I think I've been able to take the pebble. So.
Oh, shit. But you had a good teacher.
Oh, without question.
The outstanding sexiness. You need the sexiness in the life.
It's Devine.
It's Devine. Check in with Miss Nikki Sheffield and see what she got to talk about. That's one thing you have to be when you're beautiful on the outside. If you're not beautiful on the inside, it's no good. Because you could be beautiful on the outside and ugly on the inside, and you're ugly.
It's like, why not try something new?
You never modeled before?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
But I should have, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Because I want to stay at the drama stuff. I want to do something.
That's right.
I don't want to do that.
That's what's up.
So I want to get to
That's right. I've never heard anything more touching than that. And you making me want to cry.
It's Devine.
Cece, what inspired you to get into this business? COVID.
All the nail salons were closed. I was looking for just nail artists that would come to my home. I had to go get a UV machine, UV gel. Didn't know nothing about it. They're like, if you don't have that machine, it won't dry. I was paying $60 for a fill-in because my nails were this long. And then I go home and get myself every 2 weeks, $60 for the fill-in, no color. Then I go home and put all the stuff on there, 2 weeks. I'm coming back. They prying it off.
It's Devine.
Yeah, I changed it.
One thing that we don't do, we don't take time for ourselves when we go through traumatic things and we don't heal. We don't seek counsel.
I have a lot of trauma and past hurts and pains from certain people in Lincoln Heights. Now, I don't have that pain or those thoughts of the things that happened. So I'm like, wow, I feel healed. I really feel like I can be home now without the past pains and thoughts of what happened.
And that was really an amazing story.
I could sing, I could go to the studio, I had another whole life. So music really saved my life. Maybe something to dream about, something to look forward to.
Wow.
It's Devine.
Yes.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Yeah, feedback. Oh, how y'all week been? It's been hectic for me, of course, as usual. Just trying to get things done, but there's never enough time in the day. And it's like 90 degrees. It feels like it's about 110 on it. It's like real muggy and I can't even breathe. I'm like, oh my God, what is it? I don't like this. But I guess it's better than snow.
I like the smell.
Do you really? Oh my goodness, where you from?
I like
Eskimo?
the Minnesota.
Minnesota. No, I like it like 70, 75. I'm fine.
That's
You
good.
know, yeah, that's perfect. So what's been going on, guys? It's been a lot going on in the city. I heard about Bank of America. They've been stealing fees from people. What's up with that?
That is a bank thing for sure.
That-
A lot of banks end up giving a lot of money back from people.
Yeah, so they really need to dig in their pockets and get that money back. That's not right. People out here struggling.
Yeah, it's not a good time for that.
Not a good time at all. And then I heard a 9-year-old got shot in Madisonville. Did you see the pretty little girl?
I did not see her picture, no, but I heard about it. I thought she was from Silverton, but I could.
That's about the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. They said it was like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
It was a cheerleader. They shot like 25 times in the house. So the bullet probably, I'm sure it wasn't meant for this little girl, but I'm praying for this family, y'all, because that is devastating.
It is. I can't imagine. When I heard it, I was just.
Any celebrity news? No, I seen a commercial with J-Lo. I think she got some Yeah,
too,
with some red. And I was like, look at J-Lo, she's still doing it.
Yes, I know she does a lot of skincare stuff, I notice, and see that on her
Yeah.
Instagram.
So, we got to do a disclaimer real quick, then we'll be right back. This is basically saying the views and opinions is those of our guests and not of this one. Okay? Because we got a new mixing board and it don't want you to play the music loud without the microphone screeching. I'm like, I don't like that. But anyway, I have a guest here, Lorraine. And
Thanks for having me.
yes, I've been going to Mercy Hospital, so I happened to go to Mercy, and I took care of my business. I forgot what I had to go for. And I seen this lady out here with a sign. I couldn't see what it said, but I knew something was going on. So when I came back, I seen the police right there, and I'm like, oh Lord, please don't let them say anything to her. I'm just praying in the car, like, dear Lord, stop, don't say nothing. Don't let them harass her. And so I said, come here, come here. I said, what's going on? And she told me a little bit about what was going on. I said, hey, I got a platform for you. I'm going to let you come on my show and tell your story. Yeah. And so we're going to listen to this story. It's just crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy.
I can barely believe it, and it's been 2.5 months, and I still cannot believe it. It just will never sit right.
And the last time I seen her, and I'm not kidding, this lady did not have these bags under her eyes like this. She has been worrying to death. You know, you got to get you some rest because you can't be good for others if you don't take care of yourself.
I
Remember
believe
that.
that. I
Remember
do.
that.
I have a kid that gets up at 4:30 in the morning for football, and I think that's what's doing the bag.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, we have to.
4:30?
4:30, we get out of bed.
What school we go to?
St. Max. And
Oh,
we love it there.
Well, I mean, it's good, but 4:30.
It's so early. And I teach yoga, so I'm kind of an early bird anyway, but
Really?
4:30 is a lot.
Yeah.
It's wearing me out.
And you probably just go to get your head down about 11, 12 o'clock.
Sometimes,
Yes. So I without any other ado, we're gonna sit back and we're gonna listen to what happened on what day, and tell us all about it.
Okay. So on April 26, 2023, I received a call from Mercy Health Hospital West that it was from the doctor that Dorian Adams, who is my co-parent of 28 years, needed next of kin at Mercy West Hospital. And I told the doctor, I'm not next of kin. We're no longer together, but we have a 28-year-old daughter who's next of kin, and I'll go get her and bring her right over. And so, you know, I asked the doctor to tell me it wasn't bad, you know, because I knew the phone call wasn't good. And he said, I can't tell you it's not bad. And I was like, please just say that it's not bad. And he said, it is bad, and you need to make your way over. So I called my daughter immediately. I was test driving a little old convertible at the time. So I was screaming and driving, and the guy, you know, said, you know, gotta pull over, you know, and my daughter was saying that she's not gonna wait for me, that she doesn't need me to come get her. She's gonna make her way to her dad on her own, tell me where he is. So I didn't have all the information that I needed. I really don't know anything about Mercy West at all. So we figured out, you know, where she needed to go. And she not really shocked to hear from him because I didn't know what was going on. So I just he had said, you know, at the time, Dorian's having this medical emergency, the boys are on their way, that the school was bringing them to the hospital. So I headed in the other direction to figure out how to get to Mercy. Finally, you know, after many calls from this guy and me calling other people, I finally got to Mercy. So I arrived there, and my kids are there with, you know, their school people, and they get up and they said, "Mom, what's wrong?" And I said, "I don't know, boys, we're getting ready to find out." So,
How old are your boys?
my boys are 18 and 14, a brand new 18-year-old at that time. He had just turned 18, not even 2 weeks before his dad passed. So I said, "I don't know what's going on, boys, but we're getting ready to find out." So I didn't see my daughter, didn't, you know, knew that she had made it before me. And a nurse from Mercy, not sure of her name, took me and my boys into a private room. Inside of the, you know, the waiting room was there, and then she took us in a door that kind of was locked from the waiting room, and then she put us in a room on the left-hand side. Left us in that room, and the same guy that, you know, had called me probably at least 4 or 5 times while I was trying to make my way there, came into the room where I was with my boys and said, sat down, we're all standing, waiting to find out what's going on. He sits down on the little cot and he says, "Hey boys, your dad is dead. He died of a massive heart attack at 12:05. So we're all, you know, we're all done at that point. You know, all 3 of us, we weren't expecting this to be, you know, I was thinking maybe he needed like surgery or some help or something, so we just weren't prepared. And so I kind of, at the time, I thought, this is weird that this guy is telling us this. So I know this guy, but not know him. I know him as someone that Dorian has worked with in the past, and he's fixed a couple things around the house, but that's all I know of him. He's definitely not a friend that has spent time in our home over the 25 years that we were together. So, you know, I was like, everyone, the 3 of us were just besides ourselves. And, you know, then finally my big boy says he's going to go see his dad. So he walks with this gentleman to see his dad, and I'm trying to, you know, comfort my baby boy. And finally we all kind of get it together. My baby boy went to see his dad, and then I went last in there. And, you know, I didn't know at the time that anything was really wrong. Like, I knew that it was crazy that the doctor didn't come in and talk to us, didn't, you know, but I didn't know at that time that he hadn't talked to my daughter. So then, you know, we stay there for a little. Called me and asked me who was there, and I don't want to take up too much time with this, but this guy showed up because Covedale Elementary, where Dorian had his medical emergency, reached out on Facebook. So he had a medical emergency contact card, but they tell me that none of the people on the card, which they say are exclusively his parents, had a current number. So they start reaching out on social media and calling people from Facebook, I guess Messenger. I don't use it like that, so I don't understand all the processes. But they got in touch, I know for sure, with Dorian's sister-in-law.
Okay. We got to take a break.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
take time for ourselves when we go through traumatic things and we don't heal. We don't seek counsel.
I have a lot of trauma and past hurts and pains from certain people in Lincoln Heights. I don't have that pain or those thoughts of the things that happened. So I'm like, wow, I feel healed. I really feel like I can be home now without the past pains and thoughts of what happened.
And Mom, that was really an amazing story.
I could go to the studio. I had another whole life. So music really saved my life. Gave me something to dream about, something to look forward to.
Wow.
It's Devine.
Hey y'all, I need y'all to tune in on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock to Lovers and Friends. Don't miss out. Check in with Miss Nikki Sheffield and see what she got to talk about. That's one thing you have to be when you're beautiful on the outside. If you're not beautiful on the inside, it's no good. Because you could be beautiful on the outside and ugly on the inside, and you're ugly.
It's like, why not try something new?
You never modeled before?
No.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
But I should have, shouldn't I?
Yes.
Because I want to stay at the drum and stuff. I want to do something other.
That's right.
I don't want to do it.
That's what's up.
So I want to get to it.
That's right. I've never heard anything more touching than that. And you making me want to cry.
It's Devine.
Okay, we are back. Thank you all for tuning in to Busy One and Fashion Talk. And again, we're here with Miss Marie, and she is explaining what happened, the tragic accident that happened with her kid's father at Mercy West Hospital in after school. So I know for certain that someone who works in the lunchroom, I don't know if you want me to give names or not, but I do have names. Lawanda, by the name of Lawanda Allen, reached out to Dorian's sister-in-law, son, who lives in Wisconsin. He thought it was a scam, something going on crazy that, someone was calling him about his uncle. So he got his mother. His mother talked to her. She let her know that Dorian was having a medical emergency and that they had turned him over, pulled up his shirt, looked at his belly, didn't take a pulse that she mentioned, and he was not breathing. So Dorian's sister-in-law had asked if anyone was doing CPR, and the person did not answer that, and she said, do you have an AED on site? And the person, Miss Allen, said, we have an AED on site, but we just figured out that none of us know how to use it. So I did not find out this information, this
emergency happened on a Wednesday. So his family arrived in town on Friday. That's when I found this out. So
we're talking about a whole school system that does not know how to operate the AED.
Okay, so the Cincinnati Public School Council, I guess their council attorney or whoever, has finally released a statement to Channel 12 News, and what the statement states is that they did go to the front of the school, they retrieved the AED machine, they brought it back, and they were ready to use it. But then emergency squad showed up, so they did not ever discharge the AED machine, but they were ready to do so.
So how much, I'm wondering how much time went.
That's my question.
Yes.
How much time before you were ready and the fire truck with the people to provide emergency help arrived? How much time passed before that happened? And so I feel like we need the 911 call for sure to find out when they placed that 911 call and when the fire chief at the station that came for the emergency is named Chief Mooney. My daughter is in the process of doing all of the state stuff, and they have requested that they hold off on giving us the information until we have the executor papers and all of that. So we're kind of at a standstill, but with that new statement that they released, that they were ready, I would like to know how long that ready period was for, because you don't have a long time. You're not necessarily required, but there's a guideline, 3 to 5 minutes to get it going. You know, somebody should have been doing CPR. I also was told by my daughter that the Principal Kim, told her that there was recording in the area where this medical emergency happened in the school, but that tape was destroyed after 2 days.
What?
It was, so why would that not be a tape that you pull? Because you should think, you know, maybe this family is going to want some answers eventually, and we're going to want to provide those answers. So he gets to Mercy, this goes on, this guy, you know, I'll mention that Dorian had started a small business. And my perception now is that this gentleman thought that he could somehow weasel his way into the business. I guess he doesn't know how estates work, and when you have children, and you know, you're not entitled to anything. So my daughter, when she arrived to Mercy, she said that this gentleman who Covdell had to have reached out to, because there's no way for him to know that this medical emergency happened,
Through
right?
social media.
Through social media.
Wow.
Had to have reached out for him to show up. The principal tells me that he was at the hospital before she arrived, presenting himself as Dorian's brother, next of kin, power of attorney, and business partner. His name's Dion Smith. So I don't know where the principal thought he had come from, but she says that the hospital accepted him as that, and they were talking to him, and obviously that is the person that they chose as next of kin because he got there first, because they reached out on social media. So he's there. My daughter finally gets there. She was past Fairfield working for her dad. She worked for her dad's company. So she gets to Mercy Health Hospital West, and he's there. She goes to, she doesn't know him though, so she doesn't know he's associated with any of this. She goes to the nurses thing up front, and she says, you know, I'm Dorian Adams' daughter. I'm here to, you know, give whatever needs for my dad. And she said, this guy said, don't tell her anything. So now she knows, and she said, who the fuck are you? Oops, sorry. That's what she said. Who the fuck are you? And so he said that he's next of kin. Now there's nurses.
So
there's nurses here, so they should connect in by now, right? That
they're not taking any IVs, and they're just listening to somebody just come up and say, I'm next of kin.
Right, apparently.
Wow.
So we have never been next of kin for anybody before. So we are not sure what the process is like, but this can't be it, right? So it cannot be it. So she says in front of these people that work at the hospital, she says, he's fucking nobody. I have never seen him in my life. He is not next of kin.
And then what?
They don't really accept that. So she goes outside and is talking to him, and she's like, I don't know who you are, but you are not next of kin. You are not kin. And so he won't give her any information. She says, tell me what's wrong with my dad. He won't give her the information. So she says, if I give you my phone and you know I will not call my mom, will you let me know what's wrong? She's begging this man who put in her dad's water heater to find out what is wrong with her father. So then he tells those people that work at Mercy, you can tell her. So first he told her outside that her dad was dead in the lobby, not outside. I was not there. I'm going by what she says. He told her in the lobby. Then he told the nurses how she can now see her father. When I tell you I'm livid, when I tell you I am so livid about this situation. She walks towards the back with the nurse. He comes with. She says, get away from me. I don't want you to come with me. Get away from me.
First of all, when you all came in,
I wasn't there yet. This is just my daughter. She arrived before me.
No nurses or doctors came towards her to explain to her what happened to her.
No, because they already told this guy what he had already been there before her. And they say they did not tell him. And I have a note from Mercy here. They wrote me about my ex-husband, which I've stressed a million times. We are co-parents. He's not my husband. We're co-parents. We love our children greatly, but I'm not claiming to be a wife. So, and they didn't even do ex-husband right. This is their patient advocate. Put an X and then husband. No. They did. So I said, how in the world can this happen? So first my daughter problem, okay? So then she sees her dad. She stays back there. She doesn't come back out. I arrive. My boys are already in the waiting room. So I come in, and like I said, no, their counselors were there. When I tell you St. X, if you need a school for any boy you love, they wrap them up. I tell you, they were there. So my boys get up, they come to me, they say, Mom, what's going on? I said, I don't know. I don't know, boys, we're gonna find out. That's when the nurse takes me and my boys in this private room, and this same weasel of a man comes in, like I told you, sits down, tells my boys and me that their dad is dead, and that he died of a massive heart attack. Now, we didn't find out what Dorian died of until probably 2 weeks ago. So he did have a heart thing. We do know that now. But this guy didn't know that. He didn't have any qualifications to deliver any news to my daughter, to my boys. And the American Medical Association says the doctor that takes care of that patient is the person that has to let that family know that that patient has died. They can't delegate it to a nurse. They can't delegate it to another doctor unless that doctor has a good relationship with the family that they're getting ready to tell that news. They didn't use a nurse even. They used some guy off the street that walked in to Mercy Health Hospital West and said he is something to their dad that he is not. My daughter had never seen this man in her life, and my sons have no relationship with him whatsoever. They don't think of him as a bad person or a good person because they didn't know him. Now, none of us can stand him. Like, I am so...
So has he been coming around the family?
No, but after this happened, the day after Dorian passed, he texted my daughter early in the morning and said, I'm up. No one cares. So when I talked to her from home, she was still there. She was trying to get her dad's truck keys, his wallet, which we never found his wallet. Never. And a phone. So he had 2 phones. One of the phones we've never found. his wallet we did not find. So she said, Mom, who's there? Because I had went to her dad's house, and I said, you know, this guy, along with some of my friends and loved ones who had come to like support me through this moment that I just was not making it through, truly was the worst day of my life. She said, get him out of my dad's house. I don't want him in there. But I didn't know what had happened at the hospital because I hadn't seen her like that. She had kind of just stayed with her dad, and then her wife came, and they kind of like stuck together. They hugged me at one point, but it was, you know, later. So it wasn't at the entry. Mercy says, my daughter arrived. I arrived shortly after her. We all hugged Dion Smith. I have never hugged that man in my life. Their letter is full of lie after lie. They say the nurse took me, my sons, my daughter, and Mr. Smith into a room. They never mentioned that a doctor came in, but they say all of us were in there together. They don't say what happened in there. They just say that we all went. I didn't see my daughter till well after, and she was not in the room. Everything in that letter that they wrote to us is a lie. Doesn't mention a doctor, doesn't mention a nurse, mentions someone named Ben Sillies, who witnessed the whole thing, stood outside the room when my daughter, you know, said goodbye to her dad or met with her dad. We don't know who Ben is. None of us know Ben either. So not only did Coverdale mishandle this emergency so badly, but because they mishandled it so badly, when Dorian arrived at the hospital for care, there was someone there to be next of kin that has no rights to be that. And our family doesn't even know if this crazy ass man made decisions for the dad they loved that day. We know he had treatment. He still had a tube in. We know that. So did the doctor just decide that there was nothing else to be done, or did he? Right? We don't know because
we gotta take a break. We'll be right back. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is unreal.
It really is. It's so unreal, and it's hard enough to go through this process because people are going to have health scares. They're going to have emergencies. People are going to pass away. But when you make it that much more difficult, from the way you handled it at the school to the way you handled it at the hospital, like it just puts a layer of stress. And you can't even go through the grieving process because you're so angry and you're just searching for answers. So I feel like I'm not even getting to breathe because my children.
Again, On Impact Promotions presents the 3rd Annual Midwest Regional HBCU Experience, November 24th through 26, 2023. For ways to get involved, contact Dante Payne at 513-602-7289.
Flawed. I am going to get those answers for my children.
On Impact Recruiting Services presents the 1st Annual Southwest Ohio Junior High Football All-Star Game, 7th and 8th grade. More information coming soon. Please contact Dante Payne at 513-602-7289.
Okay, Lorraine, we had a guest that asked, what was your last name?
My last name is Dean, D-E-A-N,
Lorraine Dean. And so when I pulled up that day, what were you holding?
I had a sign that said, don't trust Mercy Health Hospital West. And then it said, with HIPAA, which is the information that is private, your private health information, like the stuff that they gave to Dion, that they should not, or with end-of-life care for your loved one or your family. Don't trust them. But on top of that, I really struggle with, Dorian's a black man. Our children are beautiful black children. Is this a problem because we are black? Or is your hospital just irresponsible? Do you just do this because you feel he's a black man with people that, you know, if he's a father, maybe his kids don't even see see him? Like, what is the reason that this happened? Because I've worked in hospitals. I've worked in ICUs where people die every single day. I have never seen anything like this. I really haven't. I'm so shocked that an emergency room that's set up to handle emergencies fumbles the ball all over the place the way they did. And then on top of doing that, they lie about it. I'm going to be there until the answers, the real answers, and not the lies that Ben Sileys watched us. That's not what you're supposed to do with a family. You're not supposed to watch them. You're supposed to communicate with them what happened. My daughter, and comfort. Yes. Nothing. Watch. Nothing. I mean, my baby boy was bent over for so many minutes after he found out from this snake, this nasty snake of a man. I can't imagine inserting myself into a family's worst day. Just inserting yourself fully. I mean, he came back to our house, but I had no idea what he had done. I didn't know that he had went to the hospital and presented himself as next of kin. I didn't even know that Dorian's medical event happened at work. I thought he must have been with this guy. Must have been getting some work done, because why would this guy call me? I hadn't talked to Cobedale at all. I only talked to the doctor at Mercy, and then I talked to this guy who was calling me. So I didn't know that this happened at school. And I know Dorian works, I know where he works, but I don't know his schedule. We only communicate schedules as far as our children are concerned. Other than that, we both live our lives. But we make sure our children are good all the time. And now I have to do that by myself. And I wonder if they would have followed some sort of plan, if my kids would still have a dad here to help out and to love and to come to their graduations and to be there at holidays. And I tell them they love him. So my daughter too, but she's pretty independent, but she loves us. But she loves her dad. My kids adore their dad. I'm the hard parent. He's the easy parent, I'm the one who is going to scream at you and make sure everything's done. He's the one that's going to whisper how your mama's a little nuts, but you better get it done. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I think that my anger is so much. I teach yoga, so I try to know that I'm supposed to be in a better space. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like I'm faking it because I have to be a certain way when I'm really, really angry. So I'm really angry. So I'm so angry at Cobedale. I'm so angry at Mercy that my kids will always have the memory of the bootleg plumber coming into the room with no care. No, I have some really bad news. You boys need to sit down. I mean, he just is not qualified. And he's not in their life in a way that he needed to be there at all. He may be a friend of Dorian's. I don't know, because we don't talk about our friends that much. But I know at the time we were together, which was 25 years, he was not a friend like that. That I know for sure. So I asked my boys, I said, is your dad really close to this asshole now? Is this and they said, we've seen him probably 5 times in our life. And the 5th time was the day he told us dad was dead. They don't know him. So I don't know. I can't even say.
Callers, if you have any questions, you can give us a call at 513-386-9412. So you've heard from the hospital,
right?
Cobedale, did they give you any information?
So when I protest outside of Cobedale, the principal has given me some information. So when I asked her, after I found out what's going on with this Dion guy showing up to the hospital, I said, how did this man get the information about Dorian's medical emergency to show up to the hospital before you arrived? How did he get that? Because Dorian was out right away.
So they just put on his social
Exactly.
Just pick somebody?
I don't even know. They were picking people with the Adams last name because that's how they got his nephew. And then from there, I don't know how this whole fiasco it's terrifying because they have our children in these schools. So if you cannot reach the parent, you have not updated, the parent is moved, not updated, are you just going to start reaching out and then whoever shows up?
Whoever shows up.
Whoever.
Or are you going to just go on social media and pick somebody?
Right.
Oh, let me call them to pick up little John.
Yeah.
What?
So the principal said to me when I asked her that, she said, Lorraine, I am not involved in any of that. We just wanted a family, not Dorian's family. We wanted a family. And he showed up to the hospital and talked to them. A family.
Oh, because he's black, his family?
That's another concern. So it's scary to me because we know sometimes in the black community there's violence and stuff like that. What if the wrong person, say not violence, every community has violence, but there can be like a shooting. Can someone show up that was involved in that and now just claim to be family to that person? How are we going to protect? How are we going to protect patients and families? Because you're not always going to survive every single medical event. But that's still your patient, and you still have to look out for them, and you still have to look out for their family. You can't just allow anyone in the whole world, this whole city.
That's a big issue.
It is a big issue.
The other big issue is how come they weren't trained on CPR? All teachers should have been trained on CPR.
So that they addressed that in their statement. I told you that CPS gave a statement, and they didn't really address the CPR. And I'm waiting for the sit down. I've asked for a sit down with my children and myself because my youngest is 14, and anything he knows, I need to know because I help him through all the moments, all the children, but he's 14, and so I need to know what he knows so we can discuss it and we can go through it, and I can make sure that he understands it. They say they're going to give the information when my daughter's executor stuff is done. So we have an estate attorney, Pat Vite. She's on the track for all of those things.
Have you spoken to someone from the Human Relations Commission for Cincinnati?
So I have reached out to the NAACP, so that's part of what I've done. I want to explore if this is a problem. Maybe Dorian isn't the first black man who just gets disregarded in the ER and they give him to whoever shows up, So maybe he's not the first. Maybe it's not only a black man problem. I thought maybe this is a black man problem because we lose a lot of black men in our community. So maybe at hospitals it's just, this is another black man today that is gone. And it doesn't really faze us. Maybe, I don't know what it is. I know there's discrepancies in healthcare for black people in general. I know that black women don't get the treatment that they need sometimes when they're having babies and they take their concerns lightly. I know those things exist. And I worked in a hospital for many years.
But we just talked about with the football player that he's going around.
Is it DeMar? Is that his name? The one, the Bengal, when they were playing the Bengals game? Yeah.
So he's going around with this funding for everyone to have this CPR training and this AED training. Mm-hmm. So we won't lose another one like we lost Dorian.
Right. And there's kids too that just have medical emergencies that are heart emergencies. It's not just adults. So it can be a kid at school that just had some condition that, the family didn't know about and it just, really showed up. It could be they're just exerting themselves too much. They take them on those presidential runs and stuff like that. You need to know and be confident enough to get that AED down, get those pads on, give that shock. It pretty much talks you through it. So it really does. And I don't understand what you were ready in. I don't understand it. Don't ready it. get going. I know that the AED machine, I've never AED'd anybody ever, but I have been in many spaces that have them. I know they have instructions. I know how they work. And I know for sure if my coworker was having a heart emergency and they were not breathing, I'm getting them hooked up. Yeah. Now the AED is going to decide if you get a shock or not. You know, if they try to shock and your heart isn't a heart that is going to benefit from it, it's not going to do it. So they're not going to do any damage by getting him hooked up. Right, because it tells you the steps. And getting going. Your readying needs to happen quickly during sudden cardiac arrest. It needs to happen quickly. What were you ready in? And how long were you ready in? That's what I want to know. What you were ready in. My children want to know it. I'm sure his family wants to know it. But I don't stress his family out with these things because what I'm doing is for my children mostly. But if it provides them some comfort, I love them and I hope that it does. But my children need these answers. They need them, they want them, and when my baby boy is grown and he has questions, I never want him to say that my mama did not go to bat for my daddy. And what were you doing? Like, what were you doing? Why do we not know these things? So, I know my older children know that I'm going to go to bat. But I want my younger one to, never have any questions. So, no matter if him and I are together or not, we shared 3 children, and we shared most of our life together, most of our adult life. We met in college, and what happens to him happens to his children, and they're mine too. So it's just, it's been lie after lie after lie. The principal's just like, oh, I can't even tell you how many different stories she's given me. So she had said, that it's not, it wasn't our concern about that. We asked for a family, and he showed up. So a family. I have it here, she texted me, a family, and I do believe that's what they did. They did not have a care in the world who showed up. So, and there was a crying lady at the hospital, according to the doctor. So, because when I let Mercy know my concerns after I found out everything that happened, they said there was a crying lady out there being hysterical. So the doctor had come out because he thought it was our daughter. My daughter was not there yet. This crying lady, from what the doctor says, was with the principal. So he says he comes out to talk to the crying lady, and the principal of Cobedale, which is Principal Kemp, stops him and says, do not tell her anything. She's not next of kin, and it will not go well. So I do not know who the crying lady is, and I do not care. So that is not our concern. So, but the principal said, then the doctor said he asked them to leave, the crying lady to leave, because I guess she was a little much. The principal says she asked the doctor to ask the crying lady to leave. So when I was outside of their school protesting, she came out, and for some reason, the crying lady came up in conversation because she wanted me to come in because she didn't like me out there or to leave. She, didn't think it was right she said I was picketing, I was protesting. I'm having a protest of the way my children's father was treated and the way my children have been treated. It's not a picket, it's a protest. I'm protesting by myself, and I'm okay with that. So she said, she said, I was the crying lady. The crying lady was me. And I said, well, that's not what you said in your text. And it's not what the doctor said. And the doctor said he thought the crying lady was my daughter. The principal of Cobedale is a white lady with blonde hair, maybe brown or blue eyes. I don't know, but definitely not Dorian's child. They're about the same age, even. And Dorian's this same brown, So there was no confusion with the doctor who the crying lady was. So then, after I reminded her of what I have here, that she had texted me already, because she said the crying lady, the hospital was saying the crying lady told this Dion fella what was going on. The principal said the crying lady did not tell him anything, that the hospital did. So she can tell me that the crying lady did not. So then she said she was the crying lady, and then when I reminded her she was not the crying lady, she said the crying lady was a retired teacher that showed up to the hospital. So now you're saying you guys have another person there besides Dion, because that, if it was a retired teacher, where would she get this information to show up at the hospital? Yeah. And she said, it was a retired teacher, and I said to her, what are you doing here? You should not be here. And I'm like, girl, you're confusing me so badly, and you're lying, and I really don't need this. So it really is. There has been no honest answers. So if the crying lady is the problem, they don't even have to tell us who the crying lady is. My children's father was single in my eyes. I don't care who the crying lady is. You know what I mean? I don't care if she's a retired teacher. It does not matter. I care about his care that day at Covedale. I care about his care at Mercy Health Hospital West. None of that other stuff matters to me, nor does it matter to our children. They don't care about that. They're not like, ooh, we want to know who the crying lady is. We don't care. But we want the answers about what happened to him. That's what we want.
Okay, we have to take a break, and we'll be right back.
You tuned into Busy Wine, and I'm Lady Devine. So get your wine, sit back, and relax. You got a special guest tonight. Yeah, y'all tuned in to Lady Devine. This is fashion talk. Normally he's dressed up. Woo, you be having it on.
You know, I mean, you got to represent when I'm on stage. And I'm always representing my health.
Yes.
You know, you're on stage, so you got to do something a little different. So start getting different clothes, jazzier clothes, kind of stuff that I'd never really worn before. And now, you know, now I go to K&G like, yeah, let me get that and that. And, you know, just different
Are
places.
Are you saying you don't need her no more?
I'm saying that I have been taught to, what they say, grasshopper, you know, take the pebble out of my hand. I think I've been able to take the pebble. So.
Oh, sure. But you had a good teacher.
Oh, without question.
The outstanding sexiness. You need the sexiness in the life.
It's Devine.
And they had reviewed it, and that's how they came up with all of their lies, by reviewing the tape. I was like, no, that's not the way that works. So.
Okay, we're back. This is it for tuning in to Busy One Radio and the Fashion Talk. And you heard from my guest Lorraine the tragic story of her kid's father losing his life. And again, to me, it's senseless again, because why did he lose his life when teachers should be trained with CPR? They should know AED. It should be no reason why this wasn't done to this gentleman while he was at that school prior to the fire trucks coming. So, and then how much time was he laying there before they even came? They don't know. So you talk to Channel 12, you Talk to Channel 9.
Yeah, Channel 12, they ran a story today. It's still up on their website. So they ran it in the morning and on Star 64, and then they ran it at noon. And she said they were going to run it all day. So I guess it would be on at 5 or 6 and then, probably 11 o'clock. But they only focused on the AED part of it. So they focused on that, schools have to have an AED machine. The school then, they would not release any information until that news station let them know they were going with the story without their information, I guess. So then they released the information that they did go and get it, brought it back, they were ready to use it. Ready is, I don't even know that. I've never really even heard that before.
And have you personally spoke to the superintendent?
No. So I have emailed her, and she doesn't care. Like, no note of, sympathy even. You would think, he had this medical emergency at your school. He was a dedicated, I know he was a discipline teacher more than an academic teacher for like kids that were having behavioral issues. His degree was in criminal justice, and most of his life he worked in a juvenile jail. But he was a supervisor, so he didn't have that much direct contact, with the children after a while, but he supervised other, staff in the jail. So he, he's just this big softy of a guy, really kind of low key, doesn't get upset about much, just a big 6'3", 260, 70 pounds, but muscular, works out, really didn't have health problems, had high blood pressure, that had been a thing, but for a long time, and he had some, tests done to see like why and things like that, but, taken, blood pressure medicine, which, is very common in our community, high blood pressure, so,
very, very common.
yeah, so, and, so I did speak, didn't the superintendent, Miss Wright, she does not, I like to say she doesn't get an F because she does not. She has not reached back out, so maybe it's a legal thing, I don't know, but you would think, like, I'm not saying because we're both black, but you would think, like,
And also mentioned the Human Relations Commission for Cincinnati. You all haven't spoken to them.
I have not.
Bernard Rucker, Alicia Reeves, the people that's involved in the activists of the community.
So
Iris Rose.
So every week I try to do something new. I don't try to take up every minute of my life because I know that it'll just create anger. So I dedicate time every single week for this.
What's your next step?
So I hope to really work with the NAACP here, the Cincinnati chapter, maybe the national chapter, and make sure that this isn't a problem for our black men.
So you've spoken with them?
I have, yes. So I hope to do that. And then Channel 9, Jasmine is a news investigator. She is doing her part, and she has said that she will look into the whole story, not just the AED part and the Codell part, but how this went from this medical emergency that was mishandled to this hospital ER by ambulance, fake next of kin, delivering this information to my children. She will look into all of it because what I want for our black community, what I want to make sure is that they understand that update your kids' medical stuff, talk to these schools, make sure that they know how to use the AED, that they're not going to be reaching out willy-nilly all over if your child needs help. That we explore, like, what are hospitals up to with us? Are they respecting our privacy in the same ways? Or is it just, he's gone, let's find somebody and have I want them to understand what happened, and it seems like it can't just happen to him. Like, this has to be something that could happen to anybody. You know, anybody could have someone show up and pretend to be somebody they're not.
What can the listeners do? What can Busy One Radio do to help you? What can we do? I really need it.
I really want the answers for my children. So if anybody would like to reach out for, the Cincinnati Public School Board, if you have children in the Cincinnati Public Schools and demand that they give my children the answers that they deserve, I would appreciate that. I think as, a community, we can make more happen than one person can, and that's me. But I truly believe that one person can change things, and that's why I will not give up. Even if I don't have an army around me, I'm still going to be there with my sign, demanding answers for my children, not bothering anybody. I don't talk to anybody that doesn't talk to me. I'm not just like screaming, and I'm just holding signs, and it has the information you want to know. And I made a Coverdale sign for my children that gave them 1 star for handling medical emergencies, just because they managed to call 911, not because we believe that they did anything else that needed to be done. So,
okay, real quick, if someone wants to help, how can they reach you?
So, I don't know. How do you think would be a good way to? I could give my email. I could, I don't know. I haven't really, explored that yet, but I do. I would like help, and I don't only think it's helping my kids. It's keeping other kids safe. It's keeping other staff safe. If you demand that they make sure they fix this so it never happens again, I just think that it needs to be done. If we demand that hospitals respect us in the same way, and that our medical information is as private as any other culture, color, sex, religion, all of it needs to be handled equally. There's no reason. I just don't feel like, in my heart, I don't feel like if Dorian was a white father, that his children would have been told in that way. I really don't. I don't think for 1 second that a doctor would not have met with those children. And my children aren't too. My daughter's 28. My son was 18. Both of them were able to be given that information. And we all would have went in. We all would have received it together. We could have, held hands and loved on each other, all those things. But
so real quick, before we have to get out there, is there a phone number, or do you just want people to reach you by email?
They could reach me by phone. I'm okay with that.
So let me give out your number.
It's 513-289-3227.
Listen, y'all, if there's anybody out there that think that they can help Lorraine and her family, can you please give her a call?
And also an attorney. If there's an attorney that can help us with subpoenaing, videotape, getting that information, because the attorneys that I've talked to so far, they're like, once you have that, if, this was done or that was done, but it's more like, we want to make sure we're going to make good money. And I want to make sure things get changed. That's what I want to make sure. I want to make sure before the school year starts, with our little babies all in these schools, including Coverdale, that nobody's little baby is going to have their plumber at the hospital for their child. That's what I want to make sure. So, yeah, just to be the dad, the fake dad of the child. I want to make sure that people will be protected, and that, medical care will be given immediately, not ready, but done. Do it. You don't ready it.
I have some friends out there that I know you got a big voice. I need your help. So when we call on you, I need your help. We need those big voices. I thank y'all for tuning in to Fashion Talk, Busy One Radio. I love you. Please take this seriously. because this could be your child, this could be your family member, and you don't want it to happen to you.
Thank you, Lady Devine, for your platform.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
Hopefully we can get some help.
Thank you.
See y'all next week.
I don't know how to stop this. What do I do?